Interreg Europe is a program to exchange and transfer experience from one region to another. It's a program for regions, a program by regions. You see in the line on the bottom of the slide, in particular in the structural funds programs. That is the aim, the objective of the program, to focus, to improve the structural funds programs. You see here on this slide where Interreg Europe is located. You see the small yellow dot here. This is Interreg Europe, 0.1% of the overall cohesion policy. Small but beautiful. Our aim is that we contribute to improve the structural funds programs in all over Europe. These are the blue dots here. So we have a very ambitious objective with little amount available, but we are convinced we can have an impact, and the projects we have already improved show that we will have an impact. How do we see that you improve the structural funds programs? Most of the project proposals and the projects we have approved, they aim at an idea which they find out, and a good policy tool they identified in other region, that this tool is implemented by the regional structural funds program. So to implement a EU project within the money which is available in the region. So this is the main tool how you influence the structural funds programs in a good way. Further possibilities to influence structural funds programs is to improve the government of a program, meaning, for example, you figure out in another region how they manage their structural funds programs, how they monitor projects, how they measure the success of the projects they govern. So this can be taken over, change of the governance of a program, improvement of a governance of a program. But we had also in the previous programming period a region which added a priority or changed the priority in the structural funds programs. They figured out when they went into the region and the policies that policy area which is important in their region should be added in their structural funds program, and they applied for change of their own structural funds programs. So all these are examples how structural funds programs could be influenced, should be influenced. We are one of the few programs who allow regions in Europe to work with all other regions in Europe, plus Norway, plus Switzerland. We are a thematic program. The program is focused on 4 areas: research and innovation, SME and competitiveness, low carbon economy, and environment and resource efficiency. You have to focus on these 4 areas. Normally, these 4 areas cover a large part of the regional policies the regions who are dealing with. That's what we see also in the large requests for information from the program, the huge numbers of applications which are coming in. With this focus, a huge amount of areas regions are dealing with can be covered. As we aim to improve regional policy, structural funds programs, you see here what are the target groups. Who do we want to see in our projects? The policymakers, of course, the managing authorities or the intermediate bodies, regional, local authorities, policymakers, and agencies, institutions, non-profit organizations, all organization, people who are involved in policymakers, who have influence in policy, who can change policy. These are the target group we have. You should apply, you should look into our program. Interreg Europe has 2 main pillars of activities. One are the projects, And the second RU pillar, we are going to build up the policy learning platforms, and my team will later on give you a lot of details how we see the policy learning platforms to run. We have experts here. Be curious, ask questions later on. I will give a few pillars on the projects, what you need to know. What is the project? The $100 million question. My colleagues still defined it here on the screen. What is more important, what is the objective of the project? What I explained already, to improve the effectiveness of policy instruments, especially in the structural funds programs. This is the aim of the projects. This is what you have always to keep in mind. The project in Interreg Europe has two phases. The first phase is that regions come together, exchange, learn from each other, and draft an action plan how to implement the good policies they have identified in other regions, how to implement this good policy in their own region. Then comes the second phase. Second phase is exactly the implementation. The implementation of this good policy you have identified, the implementation of the action plan. Interreg Europe will finance the monitoring of the implementation. The financing of the implementation is rather be done in principle by the structural funds programs which are available in your region or other national regional funds you have available. You have to report to the program how you implement. You may have meetings. You may have also further support how to implement, how to overcome obstacles you have in the region, in your country to implement the good policy in your area. This monitoring phase is 2 years. This is fixed, and it allows also pilot actions to, in a very limited size, in a very limited amount, to finance also small-scale implementation. More information later on in the workshops. The partnership requirements are listed here. The principal pillars are 3 partners have to be in a project, 2 have to be from the EU side. We recommend small. Again, small is beautiful. 5 to 10 partners is a good size. If you go above, it's also eligible, it's also possible, but you have to be aware as more partners you have in, as more time you invest to manage the partnership, to administrate things, to fix problems within the partnership. So again, focus, keep it small, keep it efficient. Again, we want to see the policymakers in our project, so involvement of the relevant policy organizations, either directly as a partner. This is the way we prefer. If it is not possible and happens that the managing authority doesn't want to participate in the project, does not have the funds or the means to participate in the project, another organization can come in. However, they have to provide letter of support from the managing authority, from the structural funds authority, that they support the project and they will also commit themselves to implement project ideas, to implement the action plan, to improve the policy later on after the first phase. We also require that you set up a stakeholder group. Policy exchange is not for policy exchange. Policy exchange is for the people. If you have, for example, a project on SME and competitiveness, it's of course important to have the policymakers in because they give the framework to shape the policy in a region. But you cannot make a good policy proposal, policy improvement in your region without involving the SMEs, for example. The SMEs are not directly beneficiaries of the projects as they are not public. However, in the stakeholder groups, they should be in either directly, either as chambers of commerce, NGOs which are dealing with SMEs, with enterprises, involve them in the stakeholder groups. They help you to shape the project. You have the possibility to transfer your ideas, involve them. It's a two-way approach. In both ways, you learn from them, you get from them the information, what is needed in your region. Other way around, you transport the results of the exchange, you motivate them, and they help you to shape a better policy in your region. Stakeholder groups, very important, a new element in Interreg Europe. Who is eligible? I mentioned already, of course, mainly we target the public bodies, the bodies governed by public law, agency, regional development agency, environmental agencies, university fall under this category, but also relevant private non-profit organizations who again help to shape policy in your region. Also, sometimes chambers of commerce fall under this category. They are also in the thematic area an important partner which should not be forgotten. The co-financing rate is quite generous. The member states decided to grant 85% EIDF co-financing rate for all bodies, public bodies and public equivalent bodies. The private non-profit bodies are financed a little bit less because they're not the main target group. 75% of the costs are reimbursed. You see the co-financing rates for Norwegian partners, 50%, and Swiss partners are funded by their cantons, and the co-financing rate varies from canton to canton, but information is available from the national point of contact of Switzerland and also on our website. This slide shows you where we are. We have 130 projects approved so far. 180 million euro are committed. This is about 60% of the budget available. 2 calls have been so far closed. We are in the 3rd call, as mentioned. Almost 500 applications submitted. The success rate, well, it's a statistical figure, a little bit less than 30%. It doesn't mean anything. We want you to submit a good application. If your application is good, if you have contact with your national contact point, if you have contact with the secretariat, if you listen carefully to what we explain you today and tomorrow, your application should be a good application. And then it should be approved. So far, we have already all countries of the program in one or the other project, and we have about 80% of all NUTS 2 regions in the program. I think this is already quite a success. Within 2 calls, almost all regions in Europe are already in one or the other Interreg Europe project. This shows the demand of the region to cooperate. And it shows also that you have a rich family here in Interreg Europe, where you find other regions who already cooperate in the projects and also who are willing to cooperate with you and to exchange how to improve policies. The policy learning platforms, the 2nd pillar of the program. We will have, for each thematic area we are working in, a policy learning platform. Policy learning platform is a new tool, as I mentioned already. The aim is to allow regions in Europe to cooperate, to learn from each other, to exchange, to transfer good policies without being involved in a project. Soon the 3rd call will be closed, funds will be committed. Then the policy learning platforms are the only tool the program offers to for newcomers to cooperate, to exchange, to learn from each other. And sometimes it's not needed to have a project for 3 to 5 years to improve policies. You figure out there's a good solution in another region in Europe, you go to the policy learning platform, you get information, you meet the region once, twice. You have expert support from the policy learning platform, peer-to-peer reviews, and you transfer a good policy region without a lot of extra funds needed. This is the philosophy behind, and that's what we are providing. We are setting it up at the moment. We will have online tools to help you to identify good policies in Europe, and we have an expert team, people who are specialized in the thematic area, but also have been working in regional policies. So the people who understand your language, the people who understand your needs, the people who can link regions, programs, and help you to find the solutions. Here are the 4 main services we are going to provide: a knowledge database, a knowledge bank, which capitalize all the projects we have so far, capitalize the good policy solutions we have identified you as projects, approved projects, but also you coming here to exchange. You have policy solutions in your regions. These will all be made available in a knowledge bank, knowledge database. The policy learning platforms will organize networking, thematic events for regions exchanging in a certain area, finding out again good solutions, going beyond the projects they are working in. The expert support is provided to benchmark the policy solutions around in our projects, to further link with other projects and other programs. And the expert help desk is there to contribute to the policy exchange, peer-to-peer review. All this is foreseen in the policy learning platforms. For all this, we have the ambitions to call ourselves accelerator for regional development, because we believe that learning from each other, learning from other regions before investing, smart decisions need smart people, smart authorities. Our program allows you to learn, to get smarter, and to accelerate the regional development. You avoid with our program, you avoid an involvement in our program that you do errors other regions have already done. You will be quicker to improve your policy in using the tools the program offers.